We are honored and indeed blessed to have you here as one of our founders, 1999. And as we celebrate the East African Community's 25th anniversary, what does this milestone signify to you personally and to the East African community? Do you feel we are advancing in line with the vision of the founding fathers? And how would you assess the progress made so far in integrating the region? I welcome you, Your Excellency.
Your Excellency, President Samia Hassan, President of the United Republic of Tanzania, Their Excellencies, the heads of state who are here, the Right Honorable Secretary General. I have written something here in handwriting. It is not yet typed, but it will be typed. We are here to celebrate the 25 years of the revived East African community. This is good. And I congratulate the East Africans for achieving this. However, I propose that we also celebrate the more than 1,000 years of trade connectedness of this area. Because when we talk of, I was actually thinking what to tell you people, but then God told me that I should tell you this. Because when you say East African Community, 1999, but we have been here for more than 1,000 years. So I would like you, the leaders, the intellectuals, to really broaden your thinking. Now I have used the word trade connectedness of this area. Mark those words. Trade connectedness of this area. The area of the East African coast, Pwani, the savanna land of central Tanzania, and the Great Lakes. These areas have been connected trade-wise for more than 1,000 years. How do we know the connectedness in a trade of these areas? How do we know? What evidence do I have? There are earthworks, trenches in the Zimbabwe district of Uganda, known as Bigo Mugenyi. There were ancient earthworks like fortifications in Uganda. They are called Bigo Mugenyi. Those earthworks were built by the dynasty of the Batrezi that had united a big chunk of that area for a number of centuries. There was a dynasty which united our area there for a number of centuries. The archaeologists did some excavations and found Nkwanzi. Nkwanzi in our local language, in Swahili, I think you would say ushanga. Nadhani mnaziita ushanga.
Ushanga.
Meaning glass beads. Glass beads. They found cattle bones and engusio in clay pots. There are also nearby mounds of ancient cow dung, what we call a mungu in our language, the ancient cow dung heaps. The archaeological items thus recovered were dated to have been used between 900 AD and up to 1350 AD. Among those items were the glass beads already talked about. Where had these come from at that time? Where did the ushanga come from to go 1,000 miles to Uganda? They were not being manufactured in Uganda or anywhere nearby. They came from Mesopotamia, present-day Iraq, through Pwani coast, Ugogo Dodoma area, Unyamwezi, that is Tabora area, Usukuma, Mwanza, Buzinza huko mbele huko baada ya Mwanza, Karagwe, and eventually to Uganda. Therefore, there is no doubt that more than 1,000 years ago, this area was a connected trade area, CTA. Can we introduce that? Because you like to use, you like abbreviations. PTA, I don't know what, I don't know. So I have given you now a new one. CTA, Connected Trade Area. Mark you, Your Excellencies, I'm not using the words free trade area. I will come to that also. FTA. This was not an FTA, it was not a free trade area, but it was a connected trade area. This is because it was not yet a free trade area. It was not an FTA. This is because some of the greedy chiefs along the trade routes were extorting what they were calling hongo. Hongo, I knew hongo to be like bribery, but when I read the literature, it seems as if they were talking about customs, about taxes. When I say hongo, you can, of course here I'm being guided by Huntington Speak and Stanley. They are the ones who wrote about this, so I don't know they were using the word hongo. Hongo meaning like tax, or for him they wrote hongo. Hongo, they say hongo, but what they meant was tax. So these chiefs, some of them were extorting a lot of money from the traders, excessively taxing the traders. There was a notorious chief in Buzinza, known as what I came to understand as Ruswarura. When you read, I think it is Speak, Understand, they write Saurora, but they were mispronouncing the name. But when I asked one of the Iyara members from Buzinza, there was an old man in the past, he told me that the name of this chief was Ruswarura of the Buzinza, was very famous for extorting money, extorting gifts from traders. The other European travelers had written his name as Uswaurora or something like that. He would extort a lot of what they were calling hongo. That's what they wrote, the Stanley or Speak, one of them, from the traders. But then there was the giant and gentle Rumanyika of Karagwe, who would, on the other hand, give a lot of gifts and assist travelers. Rumanyika was very, 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 very generous to the traders and to the travelers. Speak and Stanley wrote with a lot of praises about Rumanyika, the king of Karagwe. Therefore, our area was a connected trade area, but not a free trade area. Through Pwani, we would get through coast. Pwani is coast. Through Pwani, we would get Enkwanzi, glass beads, Emienda, textiles, guns and gunpowder, etc. Out of the Congo forest, we would get a miringa. That is brass or copper bracelets. They are called a miringa in our language. Engoro. Those are ivory bangles. Bangles made out of ivory. Enyerere, they are worn by women. They are iron coils worn on the legs by women. In fact, when Mwalimu's name first came in the news, 1950s, they were saying Nyerere. We said this is. We thought it meant that in our area, but later on we were told it meant something slightly different. Amoshe, giraffe hair neckwear. From Buhaya, from the Bukoba area, would get, our area would get a toma, back cloth. From Bunyoro, would get omonyo, rock salt. Our ignorant chiefs kept that underutilization of our opportunities for all that time until the Europeans came and captured them. Because this area was connected trade-wise, but our chiefs never used it to consolidate it, so the Europeans came and captured the area. Now the Europeans first came to the East African coast in the persons of Vasco da Gama in 1498. Then they disconnected our connected trade area when they colonized the region and fragmented it among the English, Kenya and Uganda, the Germans, Tanganyika, Rwanda and Burundi, Belgians, Congo, the British and the Egyptians, South Sudan. So when these foreigners came, because of our internal weaknesses, now what was a CTA became a DTA, a disconnected trade area. Thereafter, our CTA, connected trade area, became a DTA, disconnected trade area. This was the fault of the chiefs. This definitely was the fault of our chiefs. Vasco da Gama came here in 1498. That is when the first white man came to the East African coast, signaling a possible new danger to us. And that's how they were called Wazungu. Because I think they were asked, what are you looking for? Tunazunguka.
They just say they are going around. They were going around.
Now, Vasco da Gama came here in 1498. The Berlin Congress that partitioned Africa into colonies took place in 1884-85. This is a whole 386 years of our wonderful chiefs watching the danger coming and doing nothing about it. This is just the history. It is therefore most commendable that our leaders, Mzee Jomo Kenyatta, Mwalimu Julius Nyerere, and Dr. Obote, as soon as we got out of the nightmare of colonialism, took the bold step of the decision to form the Political Federation of East Africa on the 3rd of June, 1963, which is what my daughter, the Secretary General, was talking about. I have already given Her Excellency that picture, and I've also given to His Excellency Ruto. I've given all the presidents, even President Kagame, I gave him the picture, that picture of the 3rd of June, 1963. But now I have some copies I want to give to Secretary General again, and to Yara, and to Secretariat. I don't know whether they are the same secretaries. And then to the East African Council, Trade Council. Are there traders here? Oh, okay. Bring my pictures. I have already given those pictures to their excellencies, the presidents. Unfortunately, some actors let us down and did not follow up that decision of forming the political federation in 1963. Picture zangu nyinyi waheshimiwa. I'm glad Tanganyika and Zanzibar moved ahead and formed Tanzania, that has played a very unique role in the liberation of Southern Africa, as well as the fight against Idi Amin in Uganda. Because remember, muungano wa Tanganyika na Zanzibar was 1964. That was after Mwalimu and Mzee Karume noticed the hesitation by Obote and Kenyatta. That's how Mwalimu and Sheikh Abedi Karume said, watch at 20 minutes. Because in the 1963 meeting, Zanzibaris were not yet independent. I don't think Zanzibar was independent by 1963. Even Kenya was not yet independent, but they were coming to independence. I think Zanzibar got independence in 64.
Revolution is 64. And independence was 63. 63. Independence.
Oh, okay.
Then we didn't want that independence, we did revolution.
Oh, okay. So when Mr. Obote and Mzee Kenyatta hesitated, Tanganyika and Zanzibar went ahead and formed the United Republic of Tanzania. There would have been no problem of Idi Amin in Uganda. Possibly the problems of Rwanda and Burundi could have been solved earlier and with less loss of blood, of life. The Federation of East Africa would have found it easier to deal with the problems of South Sudan and Somalia. We need to remind ourselves that when we had a connected trade area in this area, there was no country called the United States of America. When we had the connected trade area here, when I could trade from coast to Uganda, there was no United States of America. What do we say about these ancient societies of ours sitting around for the last 600 years and watching foreigners taking slaves from Africa, building strength until they were strong enough to either to enter the interior of Africa and colonize it? What do we say? Anyway, when we had opportunity to play a role, we did the necessary. Working with Mzee Arap Moi and Ndugu Ben Mkapa, we restored the EAC. It has moved forward. However, there are still obstacles that stunt the growth of these economies. Take the issue of banning products or unlicensing them so that they do not enter the other member states. You hear people saying that country X has a bumper crop this year, and will therefore not allow products from the other countries to enter that market. What then happens is that producers of that product migrate to other enterprises and forget about the unlicensed product. 2 years down the road, you hear that there is a shortage in the same country X, and they want to buy the product. By that time, the product is no longer being produced in the country that was blocked. Even if Uganda is producing a lot of maize, for instance, we have never banned maize products from other East African countries. If we are producing maize, if we have a bumper crop, let other maize also come, and the Ugandans buy whatever is cheaper or better. Instead of saying, this year come, next year don't come, then what happens? I leave that business and do something else if there is no sufficient market. We have a lot of milk products. However, we have never banned milk products from other countries. The Ugandans, some of the Ugandans there, wanted me to ban Tanzanian rice. That mpunga wa Tanzania unaua walimaji wa mpunga wa Uganda. I said, if they are dying, they are dying easily. So if they are dying, let them die and we'll get more fit rice growers from Tanzania. I could not agree because there are 4 mistakes there. Number one, I am forcing Ugandans to buy more expensive rice of the inefficient Ugandan rice growers. That's mistake number one. Number two, I am undermining the Tanzanian rice grower, because if he's efficient, we should all encourage him so that he grows. But if we deny him the market by administrative means, then we are undermining him. Number three, I am also kulemaza. Kulemaza is our local word meaning to cripple my own rice growers. Because if you give them this artificial protection, they will never be efficient. Let them be efficient and compete with the Tanzanians. Why do you protect the inefficient? But number four, then if I ban Tanzanian rice, Tanzania italipiza kisasi, ban also something from me. Come on, Mom, I can't be part of that historical mistake. So I said, no, if you can't compete with rice, you leave rice and do rice in chakula ya Wahindi na Wachina na watu wengine. Lima mhogo, which you can do better. I'm glad that Mzee Moi and Mzee Mkapa worked with me to reconnect the markets of this area. Besides, we went beyond the mere re-establishment of the CTA, Connected Trading Area, and we created what is supposed to be a free trade area that also aims at political integration by creating the Federation of East Africa. I salute our brothers of Rwanda, Burundi, Congo, DRC, South Sudan, and Somalia for joining the EAC and therefore reconnecting the old CTA. You remember we had a CTA 1,000 years ago, Connected Trade Area, which had been disconnected by the Belgians and the Germans and all those people who came in because of our weaknesses. So now, the former CTA is now fully assembled. But it's now more than a CTA, it is now an FTA, a free trade area. We have gone up. Let us now consolidate and move forward together. We, the Pan-Africanists, insist on the economic integration of the whole continent of Africa, and in some cases, the political integration of some parts of Africa, such as East Africa, because of the 3 historic missions we distilled from the beginning. These are prosperity for African people through creating an integrated market that is large enough to buy sustainably goods and services produced or provided by the African wealth creators and workers. You see, when we talk of integration, it's not an emotional thing. It's not that I want to be with the Kenyans, I want to be with the Tanzanians, I'm dying to be with this one. No. You need it for your wealth creators. If your wealth creators produce a good or a service, who will buy that good and service sustainably and on a big scale? The good thing is that Africans are asleep. Kulala naye ni vizuri. But when you wake up and you, like the Ugandans used to be very tribalistic. Tribalism, religion, Catholics, Protestants, Muslims. Now, when we have been fighting with them, they are woken up a bit now. So the maize, the internal market is not enough. So if the Africans wake up, then they will be able to see the blindness. If the internal market of Uganda is not enough, if the internal market, I can see Tanzanians are now beginning to sell things into Uganda, beans and so on. So now the question is, where do they sell these products? Because there are examples in the world, like the United States and Latin America. Latin America has got more Maria City, more natural resources. Mito, Misitu, Madini. Latin America is very rich. I think it could be richer than the United States in terms of natural resources. But you see the poverty in Latin America. What is the problem? Wako na mali asili ya ajabu, lakini ni maskini ajabu. What is the problem? Because of the way they are organized. You cannot succeed to do business in many of the Latin American countries. I think one of the reasons, that's why I heard that you had high-level experts and so on. These high-level experts could tell us, why is it that Latin America is in misery and the United States is very prosperous? Could it be because of the connected market of America, of the USA, the fact that the founders of the USA created a big space for wealth creators? If I produce a good or a service, I have got enough buyers to buy it, and I can expand and produce more. Could it be that? Let's get an answer from the experts. So, reason number one why we support pan-africanism is that it will solve the problem of prosperity for our people by creating a big market for them where they can sell what they produce without limit. Now, the second one is that strategic security, to guard us against all threats from wherever. You hear that the Americans have gone to the moon. The Chinese have gone to the moon. The Russians have gone to the moon. Recently, the Indians went to the moon. The Africans are here. And they are not bothered. So, are we going to be like the chiefs? Because you remember the chiefs. You remember the chiefs. When Vasco da Gama came and passed years, anazunguka. And they couldn't see the danger and wake up and unite us. So people are going to, what are they going to do at the moon? Sisi tuko hapa tu. Wako huko juu wanatuangalia kama vidudu vile vinakula sukari. This is very dangerous. I'm glad you invited me. So that I tell you, because you are the ones who invited me. So integration is about the 2 points. Prosperity for our people. Where will this prosperity come from? Ustawi wa jamii unatokana na omba, begging. Because if that, you hold it, you are strong. This is the one I'm giving you. This is Mwalimu Obote, Mzee Kenyatta na wengine. Federation this year. This was 1963. So one is for you again. The other one is for Iyala. The other one is for somebody else. You take them. So the strategic security is very dangerous. When you hear people going to the moon and we are here, Uganda is developing. Uganda will become, even Tanzania has joined, Kenya joined the middle income status some time ago. Tanzania has joined. We also have joined, although they have not declared us. We are waiting for the headmaster to declare, I don't know. But we are developing. But even if we develop, even if Uganda becomes a first world country, can we afford to go to the moon? Can we afford? Why hasn't UK gone to the moon? They are here with us. UK, France, wote wako hapa na sisi. Wahindi wamekwenda kwenye mwezi, wamekuja, lakini the other fellows are here with us. So there is something about size. You need size to be able to do certain things. And in order to achieve this, so the first, why we insist on pan-Africanism, number one, prosperity for our people. But number two, strategic security, to be able to guard ourselves against all these adventurers. And using the undugu that God gave us. We are lucky. All these people we are talking about are either similar or the same. And in the case of East Africa, we have got even Swahili, which is a common language. The other day, I gave a speech briefly elaborating on each of these in Soroti, not to mention the many other documents in which I have discussed these issues. My speech in Soroti is annexed to this short statement. They will type it. What area of more than 1,000 years of similar or linked people be lagging behind countries that do not even exist when this CTA was 1,600 years old. Because by the time the Karambas went to America, 1492, our CTA had been here for 600 years or more. Our connected trade area, this area we are talking about. The Kenya side, the connection was not so much because of the Maasai. The Maasai were stopping trade from the coast. But here, we had this ancient connectivity. Maybe the other question would be, who would lose if this ancient land of our peoples that has been connected trade-wise for more than 1,000 years was to integrate family, both economically and even politically? I thank everybody.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, for those words of wisdom. You are indeed a walking encyclopedia of history, and we really thank you for your wisdom. We take away your key words to Pan-Africanism, that is prosperity, strategic security, and brotherhood. We take away your emphasis on wake up, consolidate, move forward, and unite. we are celebrating 1,025 years of a connected trade area. Your Excellency, President Hassan Sheikh Mohamud, you have the luck of coming after one of our founding fathers, and the Federal Republic of Somalia is the youngest partner state to have joined the East African community. Reflecting on this journey, what key areas of EAC integration have shown the most promise for Somalia, and how do you envision continued collaboration within the EAC to strengthen those sectors for mutual benefit of the Federal Republic of Somalia and the EAC region? Your Excellency.
Your Excellency Nduvo, thank you very much. Somalia's membership in the East African community has been a milestone in our quest for regional integration and development. We've tried before a number of other initiatives for integration, economic integration in the Horn of Africa, but for many reasons it didn't work. So we decided that instead of initiating and establishing new initiatives, why don't we join an existing and a successful integration that has already been proven useful to the people who already pursued. So for almost 10 years, Somalia was pursuing to join the East Africa community, but for situations that were out of our control was hindering Somalia to join. Fortunately, it happened a year ago. We have identified several promising areas of the collaboration, which we are very much interested and very much envisioned to do. Trade and economic integration. Somali community is a business-oriented community, entrepreneurs, risk takers. So we decided to lead our people to be part of the bigger family of the greater region of East Africa. By aligning with East Africa's frameworks, we've begun harmonizing our trade policies and removing barriers that previously limited our ability to fully participate in the regional markets. The Somali government has already created an enabling environment through investment-friendly laws in place, such as the Investors and Investments Protection Law. We have been a socialist country for more than 2 decades, and we have nationalized all the private-owned enterprises. That has taken back Somalia to a certain level. So based on that experience, we decided now to protect the investors and the investment by laws of the land. The Somalia government, by establishing that protection laws, has increased the potential for our agricultural products, fisheries, livestock industries to reach broader markets in immense, and those sectors are critical for our traditional economy and employment creation in our community. Infrastructure development is another promising area. The East African regional projects in transportation and energy connectivity present Somalia with an opportunity to enhance our infrastructure and link our markets to broader region. Without having such infrastructure and laws and being in place that conducive environment, Somalis are already part of the trading community in the East Africa region. We also see great promise in education skills development, where Somalia is lacking because of the difficult circumstances in the last 3 decades that Somalia is facing. the level of development and progress in vocational education and technical skills in the region has given Somalia inspiration to pursue and gain that know-how that ours is. In Somalia today, we started the reconstruction of the country, and almost every sector, the technicians, the engineers, technologists are mainly from the East African countries in our country. So also Somalia has been given an opportunity by the East African community, our elder brothers and sisters, the opportunity to educate our people in those areas so that we can play a fair game within the region. Moving forward, we envision deeper collaboration in these areas, particularly through joint projects, knowledge sharing, and capacity building. Somalia is committed to being an active member of the East African community, and we believe that by working together we can achieve shared prosperity and strengthen the bonds of our region. I would like to reiterate here that how the Somali people are grateful to the East African community members, the effort that they provided and the opportunity given to our people to be trained in the institutions of Tanzania, Kenya, Uganda, and Burundi, Rwanda, and many of the East African community members also supported Somalia to come back and stay its rightful position, not only in the region, but in the continent and the world at large. So that is the experience and the ambition and the vision we had by being a member, the junior member of the East African community. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, for your very clear areas of focus and your very key areas of prioritization. The investment-friendly laws, infrastructure development, promoting trade. We are all a witness as a community of the presence of Somali traders in the East African community. We are also grateful that despite the delay, the Federal Republic of Somalia is now part of the community. Your Excellency, President Dr. William Samoei Ruto, the Republic of Kenya has recently taken on significant roles, serving as a vice chairperson of COMESA, leading the Tumaini initiative for mediation in South Sudan, and supporting stability efforts under the UN in Haiti. Given Kenya's long-standing commitment to peace and security, how do you envision leveraging this leadership to foster sustainable peace across East Africa? How critical is peace and security for enhancing trade and economic growth in the region? Your Excellency.
Thank you very much, Madam Secretary General. Your Excellency, Samia Suluhu Hassan, President of the United Republic, Federal Republic of Tanzania, Excellencies, Heads of State and Government, distinguished delegates. First, let me commend Tanzania for hosting this very important celebration of 25 years of East African community. Let me also take this opportunity to congratulate our founding fathers, Mzee Jomo Kenyatta, Julius Nyerere, and Milton Obote, for the foresight they demonstrated in 1963. And to our Mzee President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, William Kappa, and Daniel Moi, again in 1999, for revisiting this very important union that brings together the people of our region to pursue what is important to all of us, to the people of our region, and what is important to the development of our region. Again, Mzee, on behalf of your colleagues who are there, from us who are not there then, we want to say congratulations. Having you in our midst during this celebration is a great privilege for us, that we can listen from you, we can listen from your experiences, we can learn from what happened then, and you keep reminding us of why this is important. Many East Africans are persuaded that the East African Community project is a project in the right direction. And I can confirm from Kenya that the East African Community vision is a vision that we support wholeheartedly. The treaty, the East African Treaty, brings us closer and deepens our social, economic, cultural, and political integration and the working together of us. And when a survey was done in 2007, 2008, it was overwhelming that the people of East Africa supported the East African community. They even went ahead to support the East Africa Political Federation. And that is why in 2017, I think it was the 18th summit of the EAC, it was then decided that a group of professionals, I think then led by Amos Wako, who is in our midst, the Attorney General of Kenya Emeritus, who is right here, to begin the journey to think about how we can harness this East African community from where we were, the journey towards a customs union, moving into a common market that we are working on, and all our ministers today are working in concert to make sure that we consolidate this market, moving into a monetary union, and eventually into what now we are working on, into a political confederation on our way to a political federation. I must commend Burundi, Uganda, and Kenya, who have already undertaken public consultations on the confederation, and also to commend Rwanda, Tanzania, and South Sudan political consultations to achieve what Mzee Museveni has said. And it is my considered view that the East African community, being the foremost economic community in Africa, of all regional economic communities, East Africa community is the most progressive. Today, our intra-trade within EAC is between 25 and 28%. That is the highest of any community in Africa. We are actually the trailblazers. This is also the community that has institutions that are working. We have a Pan-African, we have a East African Parliament, IALA, that is working. We have an East African Court of Justice that is working. And these institutions are the building blocks towards a viable entity that can support the progress of our region. Today, in the intertrade between all our countries, Kenya was the leading country. Tanzania has overtaken Kenya. And I must commend Tanzania for the progress they are making, that the numbers are growing of trade between our countries. And as the numbers grow, different countries are selling more, different products, different services within our common market. It is what it is, and that is why we must work on this consistently together. President Museveni has said that we are not in this community because we love one another. It's good to love one another. It's a good thing. But we are in this because we have common interests. Our interests converge. If we have to prosper, we need a big enough market for our producers, for our manufacturers, for our business people to trade and to invest. It is good for business people in Tanzania. It is good for business people in Rwanda. It's good for business people in every country that we have a bigger market. And it's a market that has no barriers. You told us, Mzee, that this is also important because of what you have called strategic security. And that takes me to the question that I have been asked by the Secretary General, the security of our region. We all know that it is not possible to invest or to attract investment. It is not possible to do business. It is not possible to invest unless there is peace, security, and stability. It's not possible. And that is why it is and must be our collective effort to keep our region peaceful and to invest in the security and stability of our region. It is the reason why Kenya is invested in working with South Sudan at the request of President Salva Kiir, when he requested me to provide a forum and a platform and a mechanism for the people of South Sudan to talk amongst themselves. Kenya was ready and willing and available to do that. And there is tremendous progress that has been made in the discussions between the different actors in South Sudan. We intend to conclude this in a couple of months so that South Sudan can continue to do what they must do as a country, go into elections, unify the country, and play its rightful place in the East African community. It is also the reason that between President Museveni, myself, my brother Hassan Sheikh, and the Prime Minister Abiy, we are planning to have a meeting to also reduce the tensions that currently are in the Horn of Africa. Because the security of Somalia, the stability of Somalia, contributes significantly to the stability of our region and the environment for investors and business people and entrepreneurs to thrive. In the same spirit, the process in DRC, which EAC has been involved in, and we welcome the suggestion by DRC to unify the two processes, the Luanda process and the Nairobi process, into one process. We got recommendations from DRC that they would rather this process be put together under Luanda process, and that the facilitator, President Uhuru, from the Nairobi process, be enjoined in the Luanda process. And we are in support of a process rather than running two parallel processes. It is better that we have one process that would help consolidate all efforts and all actors so that, again, we can meaningfully contribute to the peace and stability in DRC as a way of making sure that our region has the security that we need, the stability that is necessary for us to continue the journey of building prosperity for the people of our region. So all these processes are necessary. And because of the experience we've gone through, we have participated in 45 peacekeeping and peacemaking missions around the globe. We were requested by the United Nations to provide leadership in Haiti. Again, we have made good progress in Haiti. The next contingent of security people will be going to Haiti in a couple of weeks from now. We are working with many partners from the Caribbean, Organization of American States, and many other actors in trying to assist the people in Haiti, majority of whom are of African descent, to also enjoy peace like those of us who are in this part of the world. So Kenya is invested in supporting the peace, the security, the stability of our region, and we will spare no effort in deploying our capabilities, our abilities to secure our region as we focus on what helps us to grow. Finally, when the founding fathers, President Nyerere, Jomo Kenyatta, and Milton Obote, came up with the East African Federation then, it didn't go as far as they had envisioned. And we must commend Zanzibar and Tanganyika then, that took the bold step and created the United Republic of Tanzania. And when President Suluhu invited us to the celebrations of the Union. I didn't get the opportunity, but I wanted to ask then. Let me ask now. Now that the unity and the union, ile muungano ilikuwa ifanyike 1963, 64 nafikiri. Hiyo muungano ikaanza ikakuja Zanzibar ikaungana na Tanganyika. Sasa mbona ilikwama hapo? Ingesonga sasa ikuje Kenya, iende Uganda, ndio sasa ikamilike vile waanzilishi wa nchi zetu walivyokuwa wameifikiria. Sasa nyinyi watu wa Tanzania mko na deni ya wa East Africa wengine. Yes. You have a debt to East Africans. That the unity that was figured out by our leaders, that started with only Zanzibar and Tanganyika then, it must not stop there. And you have an explanation to us why it should not move on and become what it was intended to be. And therefore, as East Africans, we demand that we complete this journey of consolidating this East Africa into what our forefathers thought about. And I think that's the journey we are discussing in the political confederation. Thank you very much.
Asante Rais, kwa sababu umetoa changamoto kwa Mheshimiwa Rais wa Tanzania ya kwamba lazima endelee kupanua utangamano katika kanda la Afrika Mashariki. We have also heard that, and thank you, Your Excellency, for the assurance of Kenya's commitment to peace and security globally as embodied by 43 Kenya-led peace processes. We've also heard about consolidating efforts in peace and security for stability and common and converging interest for increased trade and investment. Thank you very much, Your Excellency. As we draw to a close of this interactive session, Excellencies President have answered all the second questions, so I will only come back to our host, Her Excellency, on one question on youth to close the session. But before I do that, allow me to ask His Excellency Prosper Bazombaza. Burundi has been a strong advocate for enhancing intra-regional trade within East African community, emphasizing the need to eliminate non-tariff barriers and improve cross-border infrastructure. What specific steps do you believe the EAC should prioritize to increase trade and drive sustainable development across the region? Asante.
Merci, Madame la Secrétaire Générale. Je vais vous étonner, moi je vais parler en langue française, les autres vont parler en langue anglaise. Mais comme on a une traduction simultanée, je pense qu'il n'y aura nullement aucun problème. Voilà donc, avant de répondre à cette question,
just to answer your
je voudrais vous demander
I would
de
like
vous
to
joindre à
ask you
moi
to join me
pour
in
applaudir
to
fortement
applaud
Son Excellence
loudly
Evariste Ndayishimiye,
His Excellency Evariste Ndayishimiye, President of the Republic of Burundi, who gave me the honor to present him in this summit due to his very busy calendar.
aussi.
And also,
Je voudrais
I would like also join everybody to applaud and also rejoice this celebration of this 25th anniversary from since the signing of the treaty establishing the East African Community. Now, to come back to your question, and the question which was asked, indeed, Burundi, with the leadership of His Excellency Evariste Ndayishimiye, Burundi is actually playing a role in enhancing inter-regional trade within the East African Community. And in this regard, the elimination of non-tariff barriers is a priority. And this elimination should be based on three main actions. The first one is to carry out an evaluation by identifying all non-tariff barriers, such as quota of importation, custom procedures, regulation standards, and also, secondly, you need to harmonize the rules by standardizing the and quality standards in partner countries so that you can facilitate trade. And lastly, you need to improve transparency by creating clear guidelines and which are accessible for commercial regulation, ensuring that all the stockholders are informed. Another measure, which is a priority, is to improve infrastructure, especially cross-border infrastructure. And in this action, you also need to invest in transport networks by giving priority to road network developments, railway lines, ports, and also airports, so that you can improve connectivity between partner states. Thirdly, we also need to enhance trade agreements, and under this framework, it is necessary to create new trade partners by creating and coming up with a new protocol based on specific actors which have high potential, such as agriculture, manufacturing industries, and also services. As fourth action, which we need to envisage, is to support the small and medium enterprises, which are known as SMEs. And in this framework, we have these actions. First, provide training and resources to the operators of small and medium enterprises, so that you can improve their capacities to carry out cross-border trade. Secondly, you also need to promote access to credit by creating financial institutions for firms which are involved in commercial activities of SMEs. And the fifth main action, you need to leverage on technology. In this case, you need to envisage and also implement a solution of e-commerce by encouraging use of digital platforms for commercial transaction, including e-commerce and documentation and electronic documentation. Sixthly, you also need, it's important, you need to promote sustainable trade. And for this, you need to carry out two priority activities. Incorporate standards, environmental standards by encouraging sustainable consumption between partner countries, so that to ensure that trade makes us realize environmental objectives. Secondly, support initiatives on renewable energy by investing in renewable energy projects which are likely to improve trade. And lastly, as a seventh action, you also need to do monitoring and evaluate all the problems, and that demands that we need first come up with the key performance indicators which are to measure the efficiency of trade initiative and also improvement of infrastructure. And lastly, carry out regular revision by coming up, developing and implementing a system of monitoring and evaluation which is regular of all the commercial or trade policies and for infrastructure projects, so that you can ensure continuous improvement. That basically what I could say briefly, the main actions which you need to carry out so that you can eliminate what we call non-tariff barriers, and so that you can improve cross-border infrastructure. And also, I talked about specific measures which our East African community could be a priority, so that you can grow trade between partner states and also encourage sustainable development. Thank you very much for your kind attention. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Merci beaucoup.
His Excellency Prosper Bazombaza, you have done an overview of all your key points, so allow me not to recap the issues because you have brought them out very well, very succinctly, and we are very happy to follow up and ensure we have a clear monitoring and evaluation plan. Allow me, as we close this session, Your Excellency, President Samia Suluhu Hassan, you talked about women, you talked about the families, you talked about bringing people together from the grassroots. My last question and your parting shots would be, we know that Tanzania has an initiative known as Building a Better Tomorrow. This is led by yourself and has been pivotal in empowering youth and driving sustainable development. Could you elaborate on the impact of this initiative so far and how Tanzania might support the sharing of best practices to inspire similar youth-driven programs across the ESC? This is in consideration that more than 60% of the community's 300 million people are youth or women.
Asante, Madam Moderator. Ni kweli kama ulivyosema kwamba sehemu kubwa ya wananchi wa Tanzania ni vijana, youth. nadhani ni about 60% of our population. Sasa kilio kikubwa hapa cha vijana ni ukosefu wa kazi, kazi za kuajiriwa, lakini pia ukosefu wa nyenzo za wao kujiajiri wenyewe. Sasa jambo kubwa la uchumi ndani ya Tanzania ni kilimo, na kwa sisi Tanzania kilimo kimegawika sehemu 4. Ni kilimo cha mazao, kilimo cha kufuga, kilimo cha kuvua, uvuvi, lakini pia misitu, mazao ya misitu. Kwa hiyo tumekuja na mpango wa BBT ambao wenyewe umetokana na mpango mkubwa tunaoita Agenda 1030. Na Agenda 1030 maana yake ni nini? Maana yake ni kupandisha ukuaji, growth ya sekta ya kilimo to 10% kutoka tulionayo sasa hivi 4.6% to 10% ifikapo mwaka 2030. Sasa tunakuzaje kilimo pamoja na mipango mingine ya kisera, lakini tulisema tuwatumie vijana wetu na tukaja na huu mpango wa BBT. Sasa BBT malengo yake makubwa ni kuwarudisha vijana kwenye sekta ambazo zinatoa ajira. Na kama tulivyosema, sekta za ajira ni kilimo, uvuvi, ufugaji, lakini pia shughuli za misitu. Na hizi vijana hawajazikumbatia sana, sababu wanaona kama ni shughuli sio kwa ajili yao, ni kwa ajili ya watu wazee au watu wa zamani. Kwa tulichofanya, tumeanza kutengeneza awareness kwa vijana, wajue kwamba kilimo ndio maisha. Na huko nyuma tulikuwa tuna slogan nyingi tu za kilimo. Kilimo ndio uti wa mgongo, kilimo ni uhai, nyingi tu. Kwa hiyo tumesema zote zile tuziweke, tuwafahamishe vijana wetu na wazielewe. Lakini tukaangalia kwa nini vijana hawaingii kwenye sekta za kilimo. Moja, tukakuta vijana wana tatizo la kupata ardhi, lakini pili, fedha, mitaji ya kuinvest kwenye kilimo, lakini tatu ni teknolojia, mechanization kwa wale ambao wataingia kwenye kilimo, lakini hata wafugaji wana teknolojia yao, wavuvi wana teknolojia yao, lakini jingine ni masoko. Kwa tukaanza kufanyia kazi swala moja moja. Kwa upande wa ardhi, tumeamua kuangalia maeneo ambayo bado hayajatumika katika mikoa na wilaya zetu, na hayo maeneo tukasema tuyatenge kwa ajili ya vijana. Na kwa kule tulikoanza Dodoma kwa mfano, tuna maeneo makubwa kama ekari 56,000 hivi ambazo tumeziweka kwa cluster. Tunachofanya, tuna develop hiyo land, lakini tunaweka irrigation infrastructure kwenye hiyo land. Alafu tunagawa ile land kwa vijana ekari 10 au hekta 10, na tunawapa title deed kwamba ni ya kwao. Alafu ndani mle kuna eneo ambalo tunawajengea makazi na kuwataka sasa kuwaunganisha na private sector kwa ajili ya technology, mechanization, lakini pia mitaji, lakini pia masoko. Sasa kwa upande wa ardhi tumefanya hivyo, tumetengeneza ardhi, tumeweka irrigation schemes, lakini pia kwa vijana ambao wana land zao na wako kwenye sekta, wanalima wenyewe na wenyewe tunawa accommodate. Tunakwenda kuwachimbia wells na kuwekea systems za irrigation, lakini tunawa impart pia kwenye schemes nyingine kama ifuatavyo. Lakini kwa upande wa fedha, tumewaunganisha vijana na mabenki, tumewaunganisha na Tanzania Agricultural Development Bank ambayo tumeipa mtaji mkubwa, na yenyewe sasa ndio inasimamia mikopo kwa vijana kwa ajili ya kilimo. Lakini pia tumeunda mfuko tunaita Agricultural Input Trust Fund, ambapo vijana wanaweza kukopa kwenye huo mfuko kwa ajili ya kununua inputs za kilimo, lakini hata matrekta na mambo mengine. Hatufanyi peke yetu, tunafanya na African Development Bank. Wao ndio sasa wanatia nguvu kwenye Tanzania Agriculture Development Bank na huku AGITIF, ili kuwa na mitaji ya kutosha kuwakopesha vijana. Lakini jingine tulilofanya ni kuwa train vijana. So far tumetrain kama vijana close to 80,000 ambao batch ya kwanza wameshahitimu, wameingia kwenye kilimo, wamevuna, na off-takers wamekuta wako pale private sector ambao wana off-take kwa vijana mashambani, wanafanya value addition na kuuza. Lakini kwa wale wa mifugo na wenyewe tayari wameanza kazi. Tunachofanya, wanakwenda kwenye minada ya kienyeji, wananunua ng'ombe, mbuzi au kondoo, wanafatten, wananenepesha, alafu wanauza kwenye butchers. Lakini na wale wa uvuvi wenyewe tumewaprovide na mashine za kwenda kwenye kuvua, lakini si tu mashine kwenye bahari na maziwa. Tumetengeneza uvuvi wa vizimba, wamefundishwa jinsi ya kufanya uvuvi wa vizimba na wenyewe wameingia. Nataka niseme kwamba hawa wa uvuvi soko lao kubwa ni Asia, na wanachofanya ni nini? Sio samaki tu wa kawaida, wanafanya majongoo ya pwani, sijui yanaitwaje, yanaliwa zaidi China kule. Lakini wanafuga pia lobsters, wanafuga yale mambo ambayo yana pesa nyingi ukisafirisha. Kwa mfano, ukichukua crab wa kilo 1, akimuuza hapa ndani anamuuza 10,000, lakini akimsafirisha anamsafirisha kwa 25,000 shillings. Kwa hiyo hawa vijana wamevutika na hiyo business na wanaendelea vizuri. Kwa hiyo tumesaidiana na Feed the Future project ya USA, wametusaidia pesa nyingi ya kutrain vijana wote hao tunaowasema, na bado tunaendelea nao kwenye training, na wanaotoka wanakwenda kujoin wenzao nje katika maeneo hayo. Lakini mbali ya uvuvi na kufuga, kuna vijana ambao wameingia kwenye ufugaji wa asali. Wako kwenye misitu, wameweka mizinga, wanavuna asali, wana process, na asali ya Tanzania inauzwa nje. Zamani Ruto alikuwa anakuja na lori zake kuchukua asali ya Tanzania, afu anakwenda kuiprocess, anasema asali ya Kenya. Lakini sio vibaya, wote East Africa, si ndio? Kwa hiyo sasa vijana wetu wana process wenyewe na wanauza asali ya Tanzania. Kwa hiyo hiyo ni kwa upande wa training. Lakini jingine tumefanyaje? Tumeamua kuweka mechanization centers kule waliko vijana kwenye district. Tunaweka mechanization centers ambao tractors, harvesters, plows na mambo mengine yote watayakuta pale, na wataweza kukodi kwa bei nafuu kuliko kurely na private sector ambao wanawapa double the price. Serikali imewashushia price, tumewasogezea kule karibu. Lakini pia tumeongea na private sector, wameanza kuinstall assembling plants za tractors hapa. Kwa tayari kuna moja wamesha weka plant tayari, wameanza assembling, na wengine wanakuja ili kurahisisha upatikanaji wa hivyo vifaa. Jambo nyingine tunalofanya ni dams construction. Tunajenga dams nyingi maeneo mbalimbali ambako vijana hawako kwenye cluster farming lakini wako scattered. Tunawajengea dams kwa ajili ya irrigation, misimu ikiwa mibaya, mvua hakuna, waweze kutumia na waweze kuvuna. Sasa jengine tulichochukua hatua kama serikali ni subsidies kwenye fertilizer na inputs. Mwaka juzi na mwaka jana tumeanza kutoa subsidies kwenye fertilizers, na sio tu kwa BBT program lakini kwa wakulima wengine, na tumeona kabisa kwamba output imekuwa kiasi kikubwa. Kwa fertilizers na inputs kwa subsidy zimewa boost wakulima na hasa vijana katika maeneo yao. Na swala jingine sasa ni masoko. Tumeweza kufanya programu inaitwa stakabadhi ghalani. Yaani mkulima anavuna through their cooperatives, wanaweka mazao yao kwenye storage, wanasubiri siku ambayo wanatangaza tuna mazao this much katika eneo fulani. Kwa hiyo bidders wanakuja wanatoa price, sisi tutanua hivi, tutanua hivi, tutanua hivi. Zamani kulikuwa kuna curtailing, bidders na wale leaders wa cooperatives walikuwa wana curtail, wakulima hawapati bei nzuri. Lakini tukabadilisha format. Sasa hivi wakibid hamna kulaza. Wakibid wakitimia wote tayari auction, bei zinakuwa nzuri. Kwa mfano, korosho last year, cashew nut korosho. Last year tuliuza kwa nadhani kwenye 1,700, aliyepata bei kubwa ni 2,000. This year kwa kilo tumeuza 4,100. Kwa hiyo imepanda sana. Lakini kuna hizi wanaita nini, peas, mbaazi, pigeon peas. Last 2 years tulikuwa mkulima anauza shilingi 200 kwa kilo. Mwaka huu wameuza shilingi 3,000 kwa kilo. Vivyo hivyo mazao mengine. Kwa hiyo tumehakikisha tumetengeneza programu ambayo wakulima wanaona, watu wa cooperative heads wa cooperatives wanaona, bidders wanakuja kwenye screen, wanaangalia bei nzuri ya nani, huyo ndio anapewa, analipa. Kwa wakulima wamepata bei nzuri sana. Kwa hiyo kwa upande wa masoko na kwenyewe tumefanya vizuri. Lakini kama nilivyosema, sio serikali peke yake. Private sector nayo imeingia kwenye mpango kwa kiasi kikubwa. Kwa maana hiyo tumeweza kutengeneza ajira za vijana wengi Tanzania. Na kama mnavyofahamu tuna chuo cha kilimo university, SUA, Sokoine University of Agriculture. Wale wanaohitimu pale ndio wanakwenda kujoin sasa na wenzao kwenye zile clusters na kukuza kilimo. Kwa hiyo tumeanza, it's a program sasa hivi mwaka wa 2 na tunategemea inaweza ikakua na ikaenda vizuri. Kwa wale ambao watapenda kusoma kutoka kwetu, karibuni sana. Asante sana.
Well, Excellency, thank you so much for that inspiring narration of the intentional efforts to securing the future through the BBT program for the youth. Our takeaways on this youth program are setting aside of unutilized land for youth, connecting with the private sector, skilling and tooling, resource mobilization, working with investors and collaborators, incentives and subsidies, mechanization and infrastructure development, sustainability, and market aggregation. Thank you so much for outlining those initiatives. We have come to the end, Excellencies, of this interactive session. You will agree with me, distinguished delegates, that this session has taken us on a journey where we have gotten the history and the reflections of the East African community from Uganda. A journey where we have seen the opportunities that are available at our disposal as narrated by United Republic of Tanzania. We have also reflected on the achievements in the region and consolidation of our efforts that have led to peace and security and trade as outlined by the Republic of Kenya. We have also taken a moment to reflect on the challenges of the journey of 25 years ago. What is needed to course correct our growth in trade, and what do we need to address? And the Republic of Burundi helped us think through that. We do not give up, because when we have children or young people in our home, we have a full family, and we have heard from the newest partner state to the ESC community what are the opportunities, what is the best way to chart a way forward, meaning that we continue to grow. We have capped it off by ensuring in our discussions we leave no one behind, because we have heard about the youth, the women, the men, the East Africans, and the chiefs. I thank you all for your kind attention.
Excellencies, on behalf of the distinguished audience and citizens of East Africa that have joined us through the live streaming, we extend our heartfelt gratitude to Your Excellencies for addressing the audience today. Your inspiring words and leadership continue to guide and motivate us as we work towards our shared goals. Your Excellencies, please allow me to also recognize Honorable Secretary General for the moderation role. I now invite Honorable Deputy Secretary General Andrea Arik to deliver the formal vote of thanks.
Excellencies, on behalf of East Africa community organs and institutions, I would like to extend our gratitude to you for gracing this momentous occasion as we commemorate 25 years of EAC remarkable journey. Excellencies, your presence and visionary leadership have been instrumental in shaping the milestone we celebrate today. Your unwavering commitment to regional integration has laid a firm foundation for shared prosperity, unity, and resilience among our people. We deeply appreciate the insight you have shared during this high-level side event, particularly on the immense opportunities presented by digitalized trade. We have heard your clarion call for a well-functioning common payment system for East Africa people, which deepen integration and economic agenda. We also heard the enhancing cross-border trade that His Excellency President of Uganda, Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, was saying, that from common trade to now free trade. East African have heard, and with these few remarks, Your Excellencies, I would like to conclude my remarks by thanking the Regional Commissioner of Arusha, Honorable Paul Makonda, and his team for his great contribution in supporting the Secretariat in organizing the high-level side event, the summit, and wonderful fireworks in Arusha last night, marking the start of celebration of 25 years of remarkable journey of people of East Africa. Asanteni sana, thank you so much. I conclude my remarks by calling upon Dr. Joy to take us through the photo session and thereafter conclude with anthems. Thank you so much.
We will now proceed with the photo session, and I now invite Honorable Secretary General to lead the session with the Excellencies for the photos. Over to you, Honorable Secretary.
Your Excellencies, the second picture will be the heads of state and the ministers and cabinet secretaries present. Please come forward. The ministers and cabinet secretaries present.
Tofauti zetu zisibadilike tu. Utanzania wangu ni muungano wetu, na tofauti zetu zisibadilike tu. Tulinde, tudumishe, tulinde Utanzania.
After this photo, after this one, we will have the heads of states, the Speaker Yalo, the Judge President, the Deputy Secretaries General, and the former SGs, the former Secretaries General of the ESC, who are here with us. So we can have the Judge President coming forward, the Speaker, the Deputy Secretaries General, and the former Secretaries General. The former Secretaries General of the ESC, please join the picture. After this picture, we will have the anthems. Judge, President, Speaker, please come forward. This will be our last picture of the day, after which we'll have the anthems, and then the meeting will be concluded. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. We can now be upstanding for the anthems, please. Let us have the anthems, please. Let us remain upstanding as we give our heads of state the opportunity to leave. Thank you so much.